Steve, you and I dove into the world of DC with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and the reception behind the announcement, the trailers, the footage, this, that, and the other was pretty negative going in. Even my own perspective going in went, man, I don't know about this. And then going in with an open mind, dude, I actually had a good time. I actually had fun. There is something here, but it's still something that's missing. It doesn't quite have the usual sweet sauce from Rocksteady. I think when you're so used to these Batman Arkham games, right? And then you get into something else, I'm like, man, you guys went with more DC. And I wonder if that was part of the problem. Going in with King Shark and Boomerang, Deadshot. Harley, obviously the most well-reputable villain for us to play as throughout the game. But again, it was just, I didn't know if it was going to be enough. The more I played, I wrapped up the game in about 14 hours, Steve, and I had fun. To the point, Steve, where the story at moments is so well written, I am laughing out loud. Shocked that I'm laughing out loud. I had a good time. This isn't the greatest game, but it doesn't deserve the criticism, I think, that has been received. There is a lot more behind it than I think a lot of people expected when they jumped into the game. And I, dude, for one, had a blast playing. It definitely has some moments, Steve. Where were you on this one? How does this one feel for you?
I had so much fun with this, and it's kind of like when the Suicide first film come out probably about 6 years ago.
Those movies
it got
are bad.
slated, but I enjoyed it. That's the funny thing. I thought it because it's that comical side. It's the it's the connection of the villains that are now becoming heroes.
Yeah.
It's because the roles are reversed, but it's still got that quirky villain side to it. But this game, graphically, it is beautiful. And it's backed up with all the characters' voice acting for each of the characters, from Harley Quinn to Deadshot to King Shark and Boomerang. And like you said, it's the chemistry that really holds this game together. And it is a lot of fun, but we had some issues, or I had slight issues, or it's not really the game's fault, but it was the game mechanics of each character from traversing across the map, because there is no quick fast travels or anything like that. And each character has its own ability, and I have to say Deadshot for me was the better one with his jetpack.
Yeah, no, hands down, the traversal in the game is one of the worst mechanics that I've experienced. That was one of the parts that held the game back. And the other part for me, dude, all I did was shoot purple dudes. It was just one purple guy after another purple guy that eventually turned red, but it's still the same character. Like, there's very, very little in the way of expanding the roster of enemy types that you go out and experience. It was just kind of dull and empty and a little bit boring. But it's the story and the charm and the banter that was just like, man, I just want a little bit more. I want a little bit more and a little bit more. And then the story, and then the villains, the good guys turn villains, right? That you have to then go up against and all that stuff. Basically what's gone on is Brainiac has come to your Earth, your planet, and then turned the Justice League into villains, and his mind swept them more or less, and then are controlling them to help him take over the world. And that's what's going on. And you're out with these 4 rickety bandits, more or less, at to kind of secure the world. And it's just, it is a comical twist, and they don't take themselves seriously over at Rocksteady when they went in with this game, right? I think that's one of the parts that stand out. The banter is top notch, man. To the point, like, I'm laughing out loud. There's a part where you meet your arms dealer. Steve, I'll leave it at that. It was so funny, man. I'm howling on the couch playing the game. Steve, you and I have both been on the same page when it comes to the graphics, the story, the banter, the humor is really what pushes Suicide Squad further than what we anticipated coming in the first place. But it is a traversal with across the map, right? With no fast travel points, just really going back to headquarters is your fast travel. And then from there, just repetition of the enemies over and over. And I felt like the mission types were the same thing. For me, dude, I'm wrapping up 7.5. What about you?
I'm giving this an 8. Because I did have with everything you just mentioned and we talked about, but I did have some server issues, like with the PlayStation 5, like the resume. Like every time I went to carry on resume play, it wouldn't connect to the server, and I had to physically close the app. But I am having a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to beating this game and seeing what happens at the end.
Nice.
Jockey, I know you love the dramatic stuff.
I really do.
To my massive and disappointingly male fan base.